Walking in my shoes will humble you, man. You might fumble, man, but it won't happen to me. My destiny to score touchdowns by earning them beat. By the age of 6, I was caught in the mix of murder, suicide, and private security. The fury beat inside of me. Cause when Popo came to my house and said my father was dead, my pop lost control. My mom went numb. My sister cried on my television. But it still gets deeper like an Oprah show. So you might need a Kleenex for the whole scenario.
Walking my life, my incomplete.
Pain and tragedy. The funny thing is all real and it's my life story.
My life story. Featuring Preacher Man.
And you don't understand the man until you know his blues. Pushing through and overcoming
whatever comes my way. Even Corona and Valley Fever. Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm back. Oh, man. I got a special guest joining me shortly, my wife, Allana Taylor. Episode 31. I just want to humbly thank you. I don't have all the names and, I'm waiting for, people to get in and stuff like that. But even on the replay, you can watch it. Listen, August 29th, went to the hospital. September 6th, I slipped into a coma. I was dealing with COVID and valley fever, which I've had since 2013. We'll explain all this through the show. And in total, I was away from my home and in the hospital and rehab and all that for 85 days. I was in a coma for 37 days. And I must say, I've got to thank all of you, my subscribers, friends, family, everyone for praying for me. There is power in prayer, in God, and in the name of Jesus. Okay? I missed my birthday, you guys. I mean, I don't know what to say. I was in a coma for my birthday, September 10th. On September 21st, my mother passed away while I was in a coma. Won't talk about that too much on this episode. I will do a special show on that, even, showing the birth chart and stuff like that. But, I will bring in astrology. My wife is coming in shortly. And we're going to look at kind of both perspectives because I went through spiritual warfare in a coma and she was becoming a spiritual giant and holding down the family, doing her own spiritual journey and path and work. She's going through a Uranus on the ascendant right now. So, it's been, hey, how you guys doing? So it's been a lot. So let me bring my wife in and then we'll kind of take you through and my wife will read all the messages and stuff. But my wife, Allana Taylor, my special guest on Knowledge is Love, episode 31.
And we will just do this together in the same screen in the same room.
We wanted to keep it simple. Family
it's
schedules.
Been a long time
since
either one of us have gone live. It was like we were in this time of transition leading up to everything, and then wow, our world just kind of blew up. Sunshine on Earth. Thank you so much for welcoming Eric back.
Thank you, Sunshine. And I do want to say some names. I don't have everybody. I will thank everyone, but like Shanti, Oren, Camille, Jay, Tanil, all these different donations that people were giving. Thank you so much for contributing to my family and Audrey Day and our time of need. Audrey Day. I mean, so many people. And then, of course, like all my friends and different people from Chris Bengus to Kara to just so many people, Edgar Burgo, so many friends and family that were Maura Jack, who literally not only spiritually were holding it down, emotional support, Kevin Jenkins from my wife, different people, and financial, and Uber Eats and DoorDash. And my wife knows about it better than me because they were sending it all to her. So let's start with, I want to tell you guys, you saw my video back in late August when I told you I got corona, and I thought I might be away from, YouTube and everything for a week or two. I was kind of dealing with things. My oxygen got really low. We thought the oxygen reader was broken
Yeah.
because I was kind of feeling good, and the oxygen reader, you guys, was like 38.
And I think it was, like they say that you get this COVID brain when you get really sick. And it was funny because I was doing it and the oxygen was, I think I was in the low 90s, high 80s. Eric would do it and it was like way down. And I don't know why we felt that the oxygen meter would work for me, but not for him. But that is what happened. And,
should have gone to the hospital probably earlier, especially with the oxygen being so low. Like I said, having valley fever, which is a fungus, never went to my lungs, but it went to my head and my neck. And I was dealing with it since 2013.
I think in terms of the oxygen being so low, I had always been under the impression that if your oxygen was as low as what his was reading, which at the time it was reading like 58, 59,
And
something
went lower.
like that. Yeah, but here in the house, that it would basically be, you would be unconscious or barely able to do any of those things. And he was conscious, was talking
walking,
everything else. So I did not realize how bad, and neither did he, how bad everything was.
But the ambulance guys, when they came to the house on August 29th, they were like, how are you talking and standing or walking? Because I think when we got in the truck, I think it might have been at 38. They hooked me up so fast. It was, but needless to say, we're not going to overdraw things. I got to the hospital, started to feel better in the ER. And, once I, got to my room, I got admitted. And it was interesting because I think, I have videos that I recorded myself, and it's like I was getting better, but then it was like I started to get worse.
Well, the longer he was in the hospital, the more oxygen he was requiring. So initially when he went in, he was on 40%. And it went all the way up to like, I think 65% or so. And then you ultimately, sorry, I saw something on my lip. You ultimately needed to start doing a CPAP at night, probably around day 6 or 7.
So I did it one night and I handled it. Another night I couldn't do it. And the guy was like, Mr. Taylor, this is how you're going to beat this thing. And da 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 da. And it just was like, this mask over your face. It was just like making me crazy.
But I think you said like it went over your whole entire head. It wasn't just.
Oh, no. It was
basic.
I don't know. You say the CPAP. I don't know.
And I say CTAP because that's what we had talked about when you were on the ventilator.
All I know is it was a full headgear and it was like over my entire head. And it was a lot to deal with. I know that. I did it one night, but I couldn't do it another night. September 5th and 6th, I did my fantasy football drafts with my buddy in New York. My boy Tal held me down, held the family down through the whole thing. He was great. I had to do that on ESPN and Yahoo on September 5th and September 6th. And I think September 6th, I was kind of worn out. I called my wife. I don't really remember it so much. It's a little hazy.
Hey, Black Diamond.
Hey.
Thank you. Are you cheating? Are you looking at us while you're at work? Or you? But thank you. I appreciate it if you're still here.
Yeah.
I was so mad at you for doing that fantasy football thing because I was like, damn, he just wore himself out.
Yeah.
I don't know. It didn't really have anything to do with it.
No.
What I find I don't know if this is the right time, but what I found really interesting is that when they were putting you in the ambulance and you were driving away, he yells out the back of the ambulance.
My boys were crying.
The door.
I was like, Daddy loves you.
He's like, baby, I'll be back in October. And I was like, now, mind you, this was August 29th when he's saying
and I don't know how I knew. It was a revelation.
And I was like, don't say that.
I just spiritually So we'll transition a little bit to the heavier stuff, but yeah, it was
So yeah, I mean, those initial days, they did, you were on the oxygen. They did
antibiotics.
do antibiotics. They did antibodies of some sort, not
Oh, yeah.
not there's
From previous patients, yeah.
right.
They asked
but
me and I said yes.
There's another, there's, oh my goodness, there's a type of antibody that many of you may be heard of. That was not what he ended up getting. We were trying to get that for him, but later on in this journey, when he fell into the coma, they said he was no longer eligible for that treatment. They did do remdesivir on him,
Remdesivir,
which when you go into the hospital,
it's kind of cookie cutter. We'll say that.
When you go into the hospital, buy Black Diamond. Mwah, thank you.
Thank you.
When you go into the hospital, it's really important that you have a plan, that you have something written, that you have somebody that will advocate for you, one or the other, but you got to let them know, whether it's a written plan that you have of things that you do and don't want, or you put somebody that you verbally tell them and that they accept to be your proxy. Because what happens is, when you go into the hospital, if there is a particular path for treatment or whatever that they do, they're going to stick to it, and they're going to do whatever they want to do. And if you are really, really sick, it's really difficult to tell them that maybe you want something a little bit different.
Yeah.
I did take an alternative medicine here at the home. Initially, we were throwing up. COVID seems to be different with so many people, but we both were experiencing, I experienced very heavy body pain. Yeah. It started out, I had like what I thought was a cold, and I had been out, went to a women's retreat, got caught in the rain that night, slept in a hotel that was kind of drafty. And so I woke up the following day with a runny nose, and I attributed it to my having some sort of head cold or something.
And I think it was.
And possibly. Yeah. And by Wednesday, Sunday was the retreat. Monday, I woke up kind of sick. By Wednesday, I was coughing and coughing a lot. And I was in the car with my 12-year-old, with William. Some of you have seen him.
My sidekick.
Yes. And I was in there, and I know at that point there was absolutely no way I was coughing so much. And we were in a car with rolled up windows in over 100-degree weather with air conditioning. So, I mean, I'm sure at that point in time he did get it, because everybody in our home did get COVID.
So I want to mention this though too. So because of my valley fever does not work well with steroids.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Is you have to be prepared and ready, because
which I told them that.
Aware as we felt that we were, and he told them about his valley fever history. Because he was awake, they were asking this sick person about, you have to approve every step of the way what sorts of medicines they give you, what sorts of treatments they do.
They never asked me about the steroids though.
Typically, well, you might not have asked. A lot of times, because I know they ask, well, do you want us to give you remdesivir? Do you want us to do these different things? Do you want to do, hi, how is everyone doing? Hey, Mad Gaming.
What's up, Mad Gaming?
We're doing well.
I'm back, boy.
They ask these different questions, but if you're sick as a dog, which they were, when they ask you, do you want remdesivir? Your mind isn't thinking right. You just say yes. And you know what? These are our personal thoughts on these things. But
our personal experience.
But in terms of remdesivir, we may not have done that, because that is known to cause some inflammation and some different things that, due to his history with valley fever, would not play well with that. But they went ahead and gave it to him. And they also, steroids are a huge part of the treatment for COVID. So if you have pre-existing conditions that don't play well with steroids.
And I think it was the steroids that really, I'm not saying it wasn't the remdesivir, but the steroids, I think, really put it over the edge to put me in a coma.
Yeah, there have been different studies with remdesivir that
Yeah.
it's linked to organ failure, and you went into organ failure at a certain point.
Yeah.
So
You're trying to take your boy out.
yeah, basically. So my point in all of that is to just say, have a plan. Yeah, power to the people. But have a plan and try to write it down and try as best you can to stick to it, and know that if you're going in and you may be really sick, you need to have somebody on the outside that is calling, and it's got to be an agreed upon thing. It's easier if it's a spouse.
But it's challenging. She couldn't come to the hospital.
At that point in time, I couldn't come to the hospital. It's easier if it's a legal spouse. I am not sure how it could possibly work. If you are not a legal married couple, you can have people who are designated to be
Your
proxy
proxy, yeah.
and so forth. And these are things that you might want to think about before anything ever happens, and hopefully nothing ever does happen.
But it's better to have it in place.
If you have that in place, then you will have somebody who can advocate for you and do what you want to do. Because right now there's so much back and forth on what's the best thing to do for all these things, and we're not here to kind of tell you that, because we have our thoughts, but we feel it's important that everybody makes their own choices for their own self and so forth. But you want somebody who's going to speak your wishes. So on very late,
and I'm coughing because of just so you know, it's my lungs are clear, thank God. Came home with no oxygen last Sunday,
which is truly amazing.
Yeah, and I'm coughing because allergies and mucus and stuff. So I just want y'all to know that I'm really doing good, and I start outpatient therapy next week, December 2nd, and I'm still walking with a walker, but I can move without it, and I'm getting stronger every day. So it's a miracle. It was a miracle. So we'll get further along. So go ahead. What were we going to say?
We're going to talk about what happened on the 6th.
Well, so I want to just start it, and she'll explain from her perspective. But if you can imagine your spouse. So I told you I did the fantasy football draft. I don't know. I might have called her.
He called me at about 8 o'clock that night, and he was very labored in his breathing. He could hardly talk. And you told me that you were going to be being put on the CPAP, and you didn't think you would be able to call me again that night. And I told you, okay, I love you, rest. Yeah.
And then 11 o'clock, she gets a call, which she said she told me when I first woke up out of a coma, and I don't even remember. And she kind of retold me 2 days before I came back home. And she was like, yeah, they called me. I don't know why I asked her, but she was like, yeah, they called me at 11 p.m., like a 30-second phone call, basically saying, we're moving.
It was a really rushed call. It was somebody from the regular floor, the regular COVID floor, because they have all the COVID people in one space. And they told me that they were rushing, that he had bottomed out, his vitals had bottomed out, and they were rushing him to the ICU.
Organ failure.
That
organs were failing.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I'm looking. Anyways, hi from Europe.
Who's that?
Lados Isho.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. I'm saying your name wrong. Lados Ishim.
Okay, what are they saying?
Anyways, all the way from Europe. It's good to see you. It's so good to see you.
It's so good to be seen.
I apologize for messing up your name. One day you're going to have to tell me exactly how to pronounce that, and I will never mess it up again. But so they called me and they said they were rushing him to ICU. It was an emergency. They had to move quickly. I could tell that the woman on the phone was breathing hard, and that they were moving him, and they were moving him at that moment.
They said my organs were failing and death was imminent.
No. That wasn't until you got upstairs that they told me that. So they hung up the phone on me, and I just sat there. And by that time, the kids were asleep. I had been asleep. So I'm sitting there with the phone, and luckily I had it set to where the hospital would ring through my silence. And so I waited, and I sat there, and an hour later at about 12:15, I get a call that said that he was in the ICU. He had been put on a ventilator, and that he was in a coma, and that his organs were failing, and they had to intubate him immediately because death was imminent. And that was it. They would let me know whatever they figured
Give you an
out.
update in the morning.
And yeah, they give me an update in the morning. So these were very, very quick calls. I was very
Could you
panicked.
imagine your spouse getting that call? I mean, that irritates me. I understand, but this was not in the dead heat of crazy COVID. They can have a third person in the hospital call and give you an explanation to what happened, give you a minute and 30 seconds, give you a point to ask a question, something. That's unacceptable to me.
Hey, Audra. So
Hey.
nice. Thank you so much. You know, I didn't know exactly who you were. I was communicating with Audra because she had been communicating with Eric leading up to this because he was going to be working on your
Chart.
birth chart.
Yeah.
And I knew you were
I'm working on it
somebody
now.
to him, but I didn't have any clue. And I just want to thank you for just your patience, your kind words. She and I went back and forth on text multiple times. She gave different remedies and different thoughts and different things. And so I just really want to thank you,
She's
Audra,
amazing.
for just your heart.
Yeah.
It was very comforting to me. The amount of people that came alongside my husband and myself to pray and so forth, it was absolutely overwhelming and amazing. And we both went through our own journeys and growth.
Allana said, I knew you were loved, but I didn't know you were loved.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, you know, I mean, because I tend to be that one where I'm like, well, I'm a little biased.
One of my buddies from junior high school set up a Facebook page for me. They were sending her DoorDash, Uber Eats. I mean, it was
so incredibly
and the birthday thing.
because
And the birthday thing.
You know, there was a point in time when all this was going on. I was so overwhelmed with so many things. His mother had gone into the ICU. 2 days later, he went into the ICU. I was extremely ill myself. My kids were what I call popcorning, meaning that they were having the COVID come on them for a day or two, and then they'd go be fine, and then they'd come back several days later and they'd have another little bout of COVID, and then they'd go away. And so it was like the whole entire house was sick. I had absolutely no energy. I mean, for the people who get that asymptomatic COVID or those little mild cases, congratulations. Be like thankful, because that was not what we went through at all. I mean, I was dead tired and sick. So when his to the point that his mother went into the hospital, she had never been put on a ventilator. She was ready to come home.
Yeah, we were in the hospital. Me and her were down the hall from each other, not ICU. And I went to visit her my first night there. And I was like, hey, Ma. And she gave me this look because they didn't have her tube feed hooked up perfectly. She was on a G tube and, getting Kate Farms fed to her because she couldn't eat by mouth anymore. And she kind of gave me this look. I was like, what's wrong, Mom? And I gave her a little kiss on the hand or whatever. And then they wheeled me back to my room. And then I spoke to her a couple other times. I would have them FaceTime, so I could see her. But I think they sent her home the 6th or the 7th. They told me she was going home. Audra. And I was like, she's not ready to go home. Like, so
well, so they actually were ready to release her, not too terribly long, but they gave her another 5 to 7 days because I was so incredibly sick that I could not move. And I had some of the most amazing people in my life who were literally dropping food at my doorstep because honestly, I could do nothing.
It takes a village. We got some good friends.
And it was humbling for me because I've never relied on people that much.
We're normally the givers. We're caregivers. It's
and maybe it's an ego thing that I just like, I got it, I'm good, and this experience taught me to really lean on the help that you're being given. It's from God through these people that are called to help you, and my allowing that help was such a learning experience for me. So it's amazing because again, it was extremely humbling, but it was a spiritual lesson for me to accept the help that's being given and to fully walk in that realization of faith that God does not leave you. He, she, whatever you want to, will provide for you, and
Yeah.
that providing comes in so many different ways. In our case, we had the most amazing tribe of people here where we live in our community in
And
Arizona,
nationwide, yeah.
who were doing this. And then as time went on, I had so many people reaching out and sending, because at the time I couldn't cook, I couldn't think, I couldn't do anything, sending DoorDash and Uber Eats and DoorDash and things like that to me so that I could order food for the kids and it was such an amazing blessing.
It was humbling. I was touched.
And again, the hospital, because they knew I was the caregiver and I could not care for Cheryl, they held her another 5 to 7 days while I got well. I did ultimately get an alternative medicine, which I should have gotten it earlier in my in the COVID, but since we were throwing up, we couldn't hold it down. 2 of the people who also caught COVID along with us, they took this medicine and they got well, and they did not go through all the stuff that we went through. They were sick for maybe 5 days to 7 days or something, but it got better. And in this medicine, I was able to take it and I got well. We tried to get Eric this medicine, but
I took it a couple of days.
We had a friend doctor prescribe it for us. We tried to fill it through a mainstream pharmacy, and they were told that they could not fill this particular medicine because it was not they were not approved. FDA had basically said you cannot fill this prescription if you're using it for COVID purposes. So Eric did not get it.
I got a couple of days.
We tried. We did sneak it into him in the hospital. He got about 2 days before he fell into the coma and everything failed. This particular thing, you're supposed to take it for 5 days. I took it my 3rd day. I felt tremendously better. My 4th day, I was well. I only took my 5th day because they say you take it 5 days. So I did that. He did not get it. He got the 2 days that we were able to get in. The day that you went into the coma, I snuck into the hospital. Yes, I snuck into the hospital. It's not what you're supposed to do. And
that was earlier on.
No, that night is when you fell in. That night.
When you brought the food?
Mm-hmm. You fell in that night. I brought the food to you. And maybe it was a day later.
So
at any rate,
talking about spirituality and the journey. So on my side, everybody experiences a coma differently. I went through 37 days. Not one moment of darkness. It was complete mini movie vignettes. And I truly believe God sent me on a mission to battle Satan, and it was spiritual warfare.
What's wild is that if you talk to other people that are in comas, not everybody has this animated experience. A lot of people are just in dark. A lot of people, they see maybe something here and there, but he was almost.
I was dealing with, and I'm going to bring the astrology in too, because how I always do that with everything. But I was dealing with fears, insecurities, torment. I mean, it was crazy. But I was explaining to Allana, I said, baby, I really feel like I did choose this because I chose this life, right? I would not want this, but it was almost like I was sent on a mission with my Scorpio rising and Virgo self. Shout out to Matt Gaming and Audra, salute the Mars Pluto people. And Temptress. Oh, Temptress. No, but I'm talking about all my Scorpio rising.
Right. Okay. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Hi, Temptress. You're the best. And it was like I was sent by God on a mission to literally dance with the devil in the pale moonlight, tango with Satan, so I could let the devil know, no more messing with me and my family. It is done. We are released. And when I tell you that, I mean it from the core of my heart and my soul. I think it's going to make me I know it's going to make me a better astrologer, because my eyes are now, there's more trust, not just, and I've always said I've had deep water faith and always believe in God and Jesus, But this was different in the sense that as I was going through different things and going through tests and rituals that if I did more, I might have died, or who knows. I relied on the names God, Jesus, Mom, Allana, Elijah, William, Jackson, Mateus. And I kept repeating it. My 4 sons, my wife, my mother, obviously Jesus and God. And I got to tell you, it got me free from one of the vignettes that I think might have had me on the other side of this. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Like, I went through it. The devil is a liar. It was making me see things about family members and different people that was crazy and not true. And I just, you know what I mean?
It was as
grace and
if
mercy.
what you explained to me, I would liken it to Jesus's 40 days out in the wilderness being tempted,
Yeah.
because you were faced with questions, you were faced with the opportunity to have everything and end this, and you refused to do so.
Yeah.
On my end, he went into the coma on the 6th. On the 20th, I received a phone call that he was now officially COVID free and that I could go and visit him. I was like, what? I mean, I was to that hospital so quickly. Oh, thank you, Temptress. I was at that hospital so quickly. I couldn't believe, how quickly I got there. And from that point forward, because the hospital was fairly close, every day, twice a day, I was at the hospital. I would come day shift. I would come to the night shift. I could only be there till 8 o'clock. So the night shift only saw me during that time. I became friends with so many of those ER doctors and nurses and so forth, respiratory, all sorts of things. And I was watching him, and there would be times where he would kind of seem like he was coming back, and then he would fall deep down. And so he would go from having like squeeze my hand to where he could kind of squeeze my hand and his eyes would flutter open. At one point I had come, and when I told you about William getting his anti-vape campaign, our 12-year-old is
my 12-year-old, the truth.
And he got cast in an anti-vape campaign,
commercial. Yeah.
And they did a commercial and shooting photos and whatever. And, when I told you that, you got the biggest smile on your face. Now, he didn't smile that much for me. I was like, okay, but that's how much this man loves his kids.
Yeah.
And so he was but then he fell deep down, and it got to the point that
she said I was like a rag doll for 4 or 5 days in a row.
He
and
really
ordered
was.
an MRI
so
to see
we
my
were
brain.
Concerned that something had either burst in his brain or something else had happened. So we did do an MRI just to check and make sure that there was proper brain activity and so forth, and no damage. First we did the CAT scan, then we did the MRI.
And I was all good.
And we did it 2 different times, because what would happen is you would kind of come up and then you would bottom back out. And I believe that some of these times when he began to tell me about how he felt like he had died 3 different times while he was out, it mirrored what was happening on the outside to us, or to me, as I was watching this.
As she's saying this, in a coma, I died, I think it was 3 times. One time I was shot in the heart and chest, and I could feel like the warmness of the bullets and stuff. Another time, I think it was the doctors. It was just wild. But what was fascinating, there was a time where and this was like a huge, I think, milestone for me in terms of facing or challenging fears. I don't know, but I was in a room and they had like pulled my oxygen, and it was about 30 people, and they were just watching me suck for air to die. And I'm talking from the
crazy experience
CEO to the hospital. I'm talking doctors, nurses, security, like they were all lined up in the room. So I'm sitting there and I said, okay, you're going to do your deep breathing, slow. And as I was, they thought I was going to be going quick. And so now this is all in, and I think I was probably in different dimensions. I'm going to tell you something else later, because I astral traveled to the house. But anyway,
Temptress.
I was so as I'm going through this, literally, I would catch my breath and I verbally you know me, Virgo, Mars, Mercury, Scorpio rising, Venus, Jupiter, Neptune. I gave the business to every person in that room. And I let them know my family will come for them and sue them. I let them know that you are messing with the wrong person, that I'm a child of Christ, that I'm a spiritual superpower. I told them that I would haunt each one of them every day of their lives. And I was calling them out by name.
This is a time when he was in a dark space and he was circled by people, and he felt that these were also the people that were kind of offering you alternatives. So
No. This was the hospital. The alternatives is when I was saying God, Jesus, Allana, William,
Okay.
Elijah, William Jackson Mateus. That was like in a bar restaurant in some dungeon in Phoenix or whatever. It was crazy. So
he saw all sorts of things, and
your boy went through it.
You know what he was seeing? They were trying to make him think that his children had turned against him, his wife had turned against him, just all these things.
Yeah.
And why don't you come here? And anyways, we could go on, and there will be other. He'll talk about.
I'm gonna
this
write
more.
a book. Yeah, definitely.
You know what I found wild is that the ups and the downs that I was seeing in him on the outside, on this physical realm, when it kind of matches up to some of the stories that he was experiencing. Now,
in the
clearly,
spiritual realm.
our time is different than his time, and things of that nature. But it was really, really wild. And even when he was kind of waking up and kind of giving some signs, he has no knowledge or recollection of this, and while he was there, it was just really wild. I mean, I feel like we could talk about this, but we're kind of going a long time into this. So maybe.
Well, no, but so one time though, and this was after I died, I woke up and I had an opportunity to go into a room and see my son, William, my sidekick for the podcast, 5 years in the future. And I spiritually, I was like, I don't want to do that. And then so I woke up on the sofa in my living room. And so I saw my wife talking to her business associate and friend.
Although, yeah.
And this woman named Taria, who's amazing, great friend. And, and they were talking in the backyard on the back porch. And I could hear what, them talking and stuff. And what was so crazy is that I saw my little son, one of the 8-year-old twins, my Leos. And, and I saw him. And he comes over to me, just like he would, give me a little hug, and then walked off, didn't say a word. But it was like he was in the brightest, like 4K color. And then the rest of the house was not as crisp, right? And then as soon as I came out of a coma and I was like getting better, one of the first things I asked Allana, I said, was Taria at the house and you guys were talking? And she was like, yeah. How did you know that?
Yeah, and what was crazy is that
I astral traveled to the house.
He explained where we were sitting, because we were sitting at a table, at our dining table. The couch that he's talking about is within view, but anyways, another part. And he said how the seat I was sitting in, the seat that Tari was in, he astro traveled to hello, let's go. And Gail.
What was that?
Israel.
Okay.
Yahoo, Israel. I'm sorry. I'm really bad. Again, you guys are going to have to tell me your names. But anyways, he astro traveled. And that day, Jackson had come to me and he goes, yeah, I saw Dad. He was here on the,
he told Allana
and he told
William,
me that he was there. And he said, I saw him. He was sitting on the couch. So he had told me this in my time and my reality. And then he,
when I woke up.
Thank you. And then when he woke up, he asked me the question and I bugged out. I was like, oh my gosh. Yes, we were absolutely there.
Yeah.
Taria, like at that time, I really wasn't having anybody in the home. I just kind of let Taria in our house. And we were talking and so forth.
It was surreal because, and it felt, and let me tell you, every experience that I went through, it felt 110% real. And so that's what was so strange about the Acoma, because it was literally like I was in another plane or dimension. We talk about this in spirituality and different people talk about it, but my Acoma, there was not 1 minute that I was not like, even when I was dying in a coma And I mean, I saw stuff where like I had friends that were shot through the phone, like, you know, like, and died, but then came back to life, like weird futuristic stuff on a spaceship going to Mars. Stuff was wild. But I mean, that experience, that was so real because it happened in real life. So like, you can't make that stuff up, you know?
Audra Day just said the devil is always creating havoc with the chosen. Too bad he doesn't realize that they are chosen for a reason. Amen. Thank you,
Amen,
Audra.
Audra. You know that, sister.
You
It's,
know, and so on this side, so he's going through this, and on this side, I had, prior to our whole COVID experience, I had been looking for somebody to come alongside and help me spiritually, because I knew that I was stuck. I knew that I wanted to grow. I knew that I had some changes and stuff that needed to happen.
She's been on this journey for a while.
Mhm.
She's got Uranus in the first house. So, and I told her a couple of years ago she's going to go through a lot of changes.
Right.
And she has.
And so
in transit.
And so through this, I became acutely aware of the fact that I needed to get myself spiritually strengthened in order to help him. I truly believe that he needed his wife to be 100% spiritually strong to come in and fight on this side with everything that's happening in our family and us for him. So I hooked up with a very good friend of ours. She's a friend of ours now.
I was on her podcast. That's how it started. She met me through one of my subscribers on YouTube and then invited me on her podcast. And her
name is Laura Cool.
Yeah.
She is absolutely amazing and truly gifted. And she is, I don't even know how
an intuitive healer,
she's an intuitive
psychic,
healer. She's a psychic. She's a medium.
It's hard to even define it. Yeah.
If you ever,
but I've seen her chart, so she's the real deal, and that's what I always tell you guys. I could see it in the chart, whether somebody's fugazi or not. She's not. She's amazing.
I mean, you will never hear me recommend anybody to date. I cannot say that I have ever met anyone who even comes close. Yeah. And anybody that I would recommend. And she's somebody that I highly recommend.
Soul2soul.com.
Soul to Soul.
Yeah, the number 2. Soul2soul.com.
Laura, and then Cool, KUHL.
Amazing.
At any rate, she has a deep clearing protocol, which you go through to just get your auric field right, to get your energy right, to get things out of your environment.
It's intense.
Spiritually, it's very intense. You transmute things. You instill things. It's a long process. I'm still doing it. I do it every single day. 1 week into doing this process, the voices in my head that I have been hearing going all the way back to being a teenager. And yes, I will acknowledge I used to hear voices. And what I mean by that is just things,
just those insecurities
and and things that would have me replaying situations.
And we all go through it.
Maybe I should have done this. Maybe I should have done that. Just all this negative self-talk is what I'm speaking about. The mark. Anyways, within a week of doing this deep clearing protocol with Laura Cool, those voices went away. Another time I was doing one of the transmutations, dealing with all sorts of things. Anyways, I can't get into it, but like I realized that some of the frequencies that I regularly hear different frequencies in my head. I don't know how many of you hear that, but I'm sure
she's a Pisces, you guys. So she's on the spiritual veil, the thin
that
line,
dropped away. I feel lighter, but I am stronger. My heart began to open because of just different things that I had been through in my life. I had a very shut down, closed off heart. Things have been changing so deeply for me. And so, my point in just sharing that is, first off, I think we can all use it, but it's important for us women, for ourselves, for our family, we are the leaders of the family. I mean, yes, men are the leaders, but women truly lead, and we need to be spiritually strong as well. And that is what I have been doing to get him straight. I believe that spiritual journey has helped. You a Scorpio? No, I'm a Pisces.
She's a Pisces, yeah. She's a Pisces. I'm a Virgo.
But that really helped me, and I highly recommend it. And maybe you can put Laura's information down there at some point. But again, the prayers and your prayers. I mean, I have to thank so many of
all of you guys,
because the amount of
love
text
from my
messages
subscribers,
and
though.
just things and just people letting me know that they were praying, and I was giving updates to people, telling them very specific things. You got to pray for this to happen. You got to pray for that. I need, when you're on a ventilator, there's all sorts of things that go in line that you need to see happen. And I was putting out there, and people were praying, and there were changes happening.
And she was giving the nurses, let me tell you, the doctors, the business. So they had me on the tube feed, and they were giving me there's like 3 or 4 different kinds. One of them is Jevity, no good. The other one I was on something AI, whatever. But we had experience with my mother, Kate Farms, and a father had made it for his daughter. It's like, organic this and fruit and vegetables and brown rice, whatever. So finally, I guess it just hit her and dawned on her because she wasn't thinking about it. And then she told them, I want my husband on this. And do you know, my whole life, never had high blood pressure, no blood sugar. I've been very healthy except for my foot, surgeries and this valley fever, this monster I dealt with.
Well,
let me finish. And as soon as she got me on that, within 2 days, they had put me on insulin, and they said my blood sugar was crazy high. She said within 2 days, it decreased by like 30 points?
His blood sugar came down by 30 points. And what I want you guys to really understand is that you have to advocate for yourself. So often the standard routine in hospitals are not always what is best for your health. In this particular case, the food that's that they were giving people is horrible.
Yeah.
And it was funny because you had.
And by the way, we're not bashing hospitals and doctors and that, because they saved my life. They didn't have to keep me on 37 days in a coma. I mean,
well, listen, I wasn't going to let them take you off.
No, I know, but
they were going to keep you there until. Like, but I'm saying it would take a lot of things. I would have. Yeah.
No, I know, but I'm just saying there were some people that went above and beyond. Tell them even about my birthday.
I mean, he had amazing doctors and so forth. So again, it's not to bash, but it is about being knowledgeable.
Knowledge is love.
Being knowledgeable and understanding your rights. Don't feel like you always have to go along with what people are saying.
Yeah.
You have a right to make choices for yourself. Yeah. And the better educated you are before something happens, and the better planned out you are as a family or whomever is going to be along your side, you can make better choices if they know what you want.
They were taking blood from me 3:00 in the morning. Right?
He had to finally say, no, don't do my blood anymore. You don't have to keep taking my blood every single day.
I was like, I'm good.
Maybe every 3rd day, 4th day. Because here's the thing, they will do that. They were pricking his finger for his blood sugars 4 times a day. Once we got his blood sugars underway, because I got his food changed, they could stop that. And I had to argue, and it took me a few days, and I argued it, but they stopped that, because regardless of what it is, every time you get poked or prodded or they take some blood, it's a trauma to the body. So again, I want people to be educated and to know that they have power.
Yeah.
And this power is the physical power of these decisions, like don't take my blood, get on this.
But it's that spiritual discernment too.
But it is the spiritual discernment. It is the spiritual power. We have to strengthen ourselves spiritually. He has always been intuitive. I think I know this experience has changed him. I know he is going to be a better astrologer and a better
relationship coach.
To everybody. Having been through this, when is my husband's birthday? Is September 10th.
I went into a coma on the 6th, so I missed my birthday, y'all. And Allana and my buddy Edgar Burgos, they all got together and recorded friends, family, all the different people singing wishing me happy birthday, praying for me. And when I first
had over 50 people that gave him messages, and there was more, and I couldn't get all of them. Edgar was like, I can't do it anymore. This is too long. You know what I mean? Or 50 minutes, I should say, of
and
birthday wishes.
I mean, I heard it.
It was really beautiful.
When I heard it and I woke up, and like, it was a couple of days after I was together.
And the prayers. And I did play those for him on his birthday.
I was bawling.
Even though he tells me he doesn't doesn't recall anything.
In a coma, I don't remember, but
somewhere.
Actually, you know what? Wait. I told you this, but I think this is really going to give you all chills. So in Acoma, and I don't remember, but I bet it coincided with I was throwing a big birthday party in Acoma. And
Oh, you didn't tell me this.
I went into a ballroom. I thought I told you. I went into a
No.
ballroom. It was like a black tie
There you go.
affair and stuff like that. And all these
Hear it
people
first.
were there celebrating my birthday. It was crazy. And I was just like,
Breaking news.
and
You
I was
had a birthday in
I had a
Acoma.
birthday in Acoma, and I was like, yo, this is dope. I was like, and I'm seeing people like, what? I ain't seen you in 20 years. Like, so, and I bet that was from me hearing that. I mean, it would have to be, because like it was, you guys. So let me say this. Let's bring in the astrology. On September 6th, when I went into a coma, the sun transiting a couple of days before my birthday was conjunct Mars and my south node. The south node, K2 in Vedic astrology, but the south node is an energy that's very karmic, right? It's past life energy, first 30 years. It's energy that you have the skills and gifts and have mastered. This was in my 11th house of friends, humanitarian, social networks, groups, organizations. But it's an energy that separates, just like Mars does. Mars is procedures. So that's literally me going to ICU and being intubated. That's Mars. And the sun is your vitality, right? The sun is your ego, your personality, your self, your father, but it's your vitality. So when it transited the south node in Mars, there was an attack on my vitality. And unfortunately, to say this, the reality is it was already written. And that's what the south node is. Like it's karmic. And I got chills when I was researching it and doing all the work on that. And let me tell you something. You know, some of you have gotten charged with me and some of you haven't, but it's going to be on a whole nother level now.
Yeah.
I'm a new man. The experience was amazing. This woman right here, the love of my life, she held me down. And I just pray for all of you that you find someone, you know, and I can help you through my charts. Check out my Black Friday sale and Sunday at midnight, my happy birthday sale for the Virgos through Sag, because I got to catch up because I'm, you know, last one I did when I was awake was the Leo sale.
Right.
So, you know,
Wow.
I just, you know, I love you guys. And
Yeah.
that's really what this is about, because my love for my family, my faith, God, Jesus, it would take a lot more than COVID and valley fever to take your boy out.
You're being asked what's your Mars and your NN?
Oh.
North Node.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So my Mars is Virgo, just like my Mercury. I have a stellium. And my North Node is Pisces. So, you know, it's
interesting how our
which is yeah, our charts, because she's a Taurus rising and I'm Scorpio rising. So like the 7th house, perfect, matches up. We match up on so many levels. We're both 11th house suns. So we're both, you know, humanitarians and care about people and friends, and we're goody two shoes, but we got big hearts, you know?
We do. You know, Audra, really quick. Yes, I just want to comment on a couple of things. So Audra, yes, I absolutely believe that you are your own advocate. Yes. But the reason why I think it's important, if you have somebody close in your life,
because if you can't talk,
if you cannot advocate for yourself. My husband was in a coma, could not speak for himself. Also, there could be times when you get so sick that even if you're not in a coma,
you're not thinking
you're
right.
not thinking straight. So if
or
somebody
can
be
on you,
pushing for what it is that you want, you're going to be better off.
Yeah.
Let me see. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to hit different people who have said stuff. But yes, and he's going to do a good chart for you, Audra, honey. Oh, yes, honey. Yes. And let me tell you, I'm moving slow. Nothing, but he's texted her today. But he is getting like these insights that he has received because he has gone through this experience, journey thing. I think is going to make him a better. I really
she already knows.
See it. I see it. He is energized in a way, and he is pushed in a way that he's looking to really do some stuff. So Israel is asking. Okay, so Israel's North Node is in Leo.
Okay,
his sun is in the 11th
Make sure
house.
You watch those videos, Israel. My Leo North Node video. I have a son with that too.
His sun is in the 11th house as well.
Okay.
And what's our moons?
I'm Capricorn and she's Sag.
Yeah. Yes. And we're kind of having two conversations, but yes, people can say no to a doctor. You have every right.
Yeah.
The same way that when they
I
kept
shut
taking
down
his
that blood. I shut
we
it down.
that down. You have a right to say no. Now they'll tell you it's not what we suggest.
Right. And he said, Mr. Taylor, you have the right to refuse. It's not my recommendation, but you know, And I said, thank you. Because I had enough, because in a hospital, you're trying to heal. And when someone comes in 10 days in a row to take your blood, 3 a.m.
And what are they taking all that blood for?
Yeah. And
what are they doing with all
and
that?
one time it was because my potassium, they wanted it at 3.5, it was at 3.3. Now they give me the little orange little cup with the liquid for potassium.
And you're not going to change. They give you a few days to process that.
But it's like, you don't need to be taking my blood every day. It's silliness.
There's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's silliness.
And, you know, I mean, we could go on. And if we talk too much, we could be shut down. And,
No,
we're not doing that.
We got the love. So.
We have the love and, you know.
But I want you guys to understand, though, it all ties together. And when I tell you, and if you saw my video that I put up, I said, you know, ain't nothing changed. You know, I still love God. I still love Jesus. But I still know astrology is the map of your life. And it's God that controls the universe.
And the thing is that God created all
the planets.
So if God created the stars, the earth, what's in the
moon,
earth,
Venus,
us, all of these things, and we say that God is a God of order and
perfect
not
symmetry.
Chaos and symmetry, then all of it does work together. So learning these things, understanding these things really help. Like just the other week when we were going through the eclipse, and he had told me, be careful, you're going to have, I experienced some really heavy emotional things. I had one of the worst days since he woke up, and you know, but I understood what it was. I did what I needed to do.
And that's what that knowledge can help you with, right? It's not like, oh, I can prevent this or prevent that. It's how you manage things, right? I tell you guys all the time, my birth chart, my father was murdered when I was 6 years old, and you could see that in my birth chart, right? I can't make that up, but you know, I couldn't stop it. It was written, you know? And then later on, I looked at the time when my father was murdered and that day and that date, and it was like 3 different alignments that were all spiritually karmic speaking to his death. It's just, you can't make that stuff up. So anyway.
Audra said, the power of the elements are the elements of power.
Yeah. Oh,
like that.
Go ahead, Audra. Mm-hmm. She's so deep. Audra's my, you know, she got that Scorpio, Libra, Virgo action. So, you know, yes, Audra, you're amazing. And you know what? But this is the thing. We all go through things in life, right? But it's, how do you come out of it? How do you transform? How do you overcome? How do you heal? Right? I've always been a spiritual warrior. And even in exercise and rehabbing and stuff like that, I take it so serious. So yes, I'm going to be healed. They tell me, oh, it could take a year, it could be this, that. You know, I don't accept what man says because I know what God can do.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah. And I healed so fast. Oh my God.
He woke up out of this coma, and in less than 2 weeks, he got off the ventilator, he was able to do the talking trait. Yeah, then he got off of that. He got off the ventilator. He was able to begin taking some steps. He has come so incredibly fast. Food. He started eating.
Everybody in the hospital was bugging. They were like, "What?"
He had people who were like,
"You're Eric Taylor?
Is that you?" Because they had seen him when he first arrived, and when he got there. I mean, there were some really scary times where even I had to sit there and go, "Okay, Lord, if this is, you know, I didn't want to ever think that I would be continuing this journey without him on this side with me. But there were times where it got really scary and things were looking like, okay. And I was like, okay, what's the message that God would be giving me if he wanted me to do this by myself? It was that real. But what he went from that to when he got off and how quickly he has gotten better. Even in rehab, he was pushing it and hitting it. They
Yeah.
loved working with him because,
and I got off the oxygen.
you know,
they thought I was going to go home with a couple of liters of oxygen.
Up until Thursday, you were going home with oxygen. And by Friday, they were like, well, you know what? We're good. You don't have to go home with oxygen. You know, we still have a lot of strengthening and stuff. And we're getting our lives back in line. And it's kind of our new normal. And I'm so excited to watch him grow, you know, and see what he's going to do. I'm getting back into my stuff now. You know, I have to get
now she can
settled.
Get back to her business, right? Which you guys got to get down with organic.
I know. I've been talking about it. I went on hiatus.
Organic and vegan body skincare.
Body. We will
tell them how to spell it. You guys got to check out the Instagram.
Well, you look at my Instagram. I'll get my website up in the next week or so. But Sabali, Sabale. It means patience in Swahili, and it's something that I just feel we all need. There's such a lack of patience and understanding. But
you need it with nature.
And so it's interpersonal. Plants, It's between us and nature. It's between us and God. It's between us and ourselves. Understanding that there are periods in our life when we are supposed to do things, and sometimes things come and we don't get to do it the way we want to. And Israel is just trust God. Can't hold down. Can't nothing hold us down. Yes,
that's right.
So Israel, at any rate, please check it out, Audra Day. I will. Is it Day or Die? Die. I'm sorry. Thank you, sweetheart. Anyways, I am going to be starting with just some samples. I want people's feedback. I have created new scent palettes. I have a lavender lemongrass, which is scrumptious. I've got a Palo Santo rose, which I don't know if anybody burns Palo Santo in their homes. If you don't, you need to try it. It is phenomenal. So I have that, and I don't use fragrance oils. I don't use anything artificial. We are talking essential
tell them what
oils.
Products you're starting off with.
And so I will be starting with my Trace Mineral Deodorant. Our bodies need to be able to function. This deodorant will help your body naturally detox and uses things from the earth to help you do that, not the chemicals that are in different things. Vanilla jasmine, please. You know what? Who knows? That may be coming. I'm starting out with two scents. And at this point, my one scent is very elevating and my one scent is very grounding. And so and I'm coming out with a body oil spray and
a facial
using
oil
that along the lines of some Ayurvedic practices and Abhyanga. And that's just a practice, a ritual that you can introduce into your lives with the elevating, that you can put it through your hair and in your skin, and do some self-healing in the morning and then do it again at night with the grounding. So you'll have things to elevate your spirit, to ground your spirit. You can purchase them like that. You can purchase them separately. I have a lot of things in plan that are coming. And then I'm working on lip balms that follow the seasons.
She got cherry lychee.
Organic.
Oh my God.
I have my spring, just to give you a rundown. We're looking at cherry lychee ginger. And for summer, we're looking at fresh fruit and lime. So all of my lip balms are going to have organic flavors with essential oils. And honey, these lip balms are going to be amazing. They are not your average everyday lip balm. I promise you. How many lip balms have evening primrose in them? How many lip balms have chia seed? They don't. Mine do. These things are fabulous because I believe in using the earth. Yes, something that God created, the earth, to help us to be the best that we can. But this is about my husband.
No, listen, to me, it's, we are a team, and, every good man needs a good woman on his side, and every good woman needs a good man on the side. And I always believe in lifting my wife up. I never hold her back with her dreams. I only support her, elevate her, push her. I test all the products for her. You know what I mean? I got a nose. Your boy can't see so good, but my hearing and my nose is like a superhero. So I can smell.
And thank God, because COVID took my scent. I'm still trying to get my smell back.
And I never lost my sense of smell. I never lost my sense of smell. But I always tell people I can hear an ant pee. That's how good my hearing is. except for when she whispers. When she really
I know.
whispers,
That's what I'm trying
yeah,
to say. You
she
get
she
don't get me
would. I
started.
can't hear her when she would like It's like I hear it, but I don't really hear it.
Baby.
And we got to get ready to
We gotta
run.
get
It's
ready to
dinner
go.
time. We got to take
Thank
care
you
of the
guys
kids.
so much.
This has been awesome. Now listen, you book the services at Taylored2U Coaching at gmail.com. You reach out to me. You can pay through Cash App at T2UC or PayPal, Taylored2U Coaching at gmail.com. But, I've got the sales. It's up on the community board, and I'm back. I'm back. And I thank all of you. I thank you. I can't believe while I was gone, I got to 2K. So people were still watching my old videos, still getting the
Thank you
knowledge.
for that.
And I'm so grateful and humbled. And, all the videos that you guys watched, my 12-year-old, and some people donated to the family. Again, thank you. And
the prayers,
the well wishes, the vibes.
It may sound cliche, but
No,
there's
we don't
power
take
in
that. We don't take that
prayer.
lightly. There's power
And
in
honest to God, I know that all of the prayers that were on this man and our family is what got him to where he is.
Yeah.
I mean, like
your boy lost 36 pounds.
He lost 36 pounds.
I went through it.
What's really wild is just the encouragements and the different things that God has done. When he was in the coma, I have to tell this story because it's just so wild. And
did you tell him? You got to tell him about the music.
Oh,
yeah, that's a great little.
Yeah,
you can't leave this out.
Well, when he was in this coma, we had played hip hop for him, and he began dancing like he does, like in the car with me. I mean, and so we were so excited, and she was playing a Tribe Called Quest. Now, mind you, he doesn't remember any of this. I had to tone it down a little bit. The nurses and the doctor said, bring it down a little bit because I was getting his blood pressure all up, and they were like, wait a minute, lady. But the power. Can you imagine? I'm dancing in the coma. I can hear the music, yo. I put on Tribe Called Quest. I put on the portion, Lauryn Hill with Nas, that new one, newish at this new point. Album, yeah. And I did all hip hop stuff, and it really hit him. So music is power, energy, and it's energy. Yeah, it's energy. It's vibration, right? Eric and I have started toning in the morning and starting every day out with toning and meditation. Please, guys, this time there's so much going on in the world. Shut off that television, start your meditation. And as I tell you too, get your dream book going. You write letters to your younger self, and remember, no more negative self-talk. You are no longer in the business of talking negative about yourselves. I tell that to all my clients. I tell you guys here on the lives. Self-love, you guys. That's the key. You gotta love yourself. All right. So listen, I'll be back probably sometime next week. I'm getting back to the grind. But I got a few charts to work on and hopefully some more. So you guys reach out and book your services. And I'm just excited. That Black Friday deal is good. You get a birth chart and a free mini chart. So don't sleep. Mini career, mini relationship, mini hater chart. People are jealous and hate on you. Fake friends, family, stuff like that. Yeah, you can see that in the birth chart. All right. Audrey, you got to try some toning. Let me tell you something. It's deep. It's wonderful. If you don't know about it, hit up Eric. We can tell you, not here, but we can tell you about it. It's wonderful, and it preps you for your meditation. And what I have found is I start to tone, and 25 minutes can go just like that. But it gets me to such an elevated state that then I go into my meditation. Align your chakras too. It's a whole other experience. So please try that. That was something Laura Cool taught me about the toning, which thank you, Laura. Anyways, yeah. So this is a special thing. Thank you guys. God bless you. Love you. Keep following me. My journey. I'll give you updates. But I'm gonna get back to. I got to finish Pluto. I got to finish Neptune, Black Moon, Lilith. I'm gonna get to it, but I got to take care of my clients first and my health. Yeah, outpatient He's rehab. Running a little slower, but it's better. 3 days a week. It's gonna get even slower, but elevated. You understand? Yes. So, thank you guys. God bless you guys so much. Thank you. Peace. Thank you.